In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, positive feedback since the introduction of healthier school meals. Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley praises the United Arab Emirates for introducing the world's largest private investment fund for climate action. An effort to introduce new technology to help eradicate mosquitoes. And in sports, Hillaby Turner's Hall make sure there will be new primary school cricket champs.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. The introduction of healthier meals in schools is bearing fruit. According to Acting Manager of the School Meals Department, Dawn Brown, less food is being wasted. She has been speaking exclusively with our Sharika Griffith.
Curried chicken and potato, salad and half an orange is just one of the lunch options offered to students since the rollout of a healthier menu in September 2022. And according to the acting manager of the School Meals Department, Dawn Brown, they've been well received.
For instance, we've seen a lot of improvement with the uptake of the chicken pillow, and we have changed that recipe. We use more fresh herbs and stuff, and in there too we use things like grated beets and grated carrots and stuff incorporated in there. So yeah, we've seen some improvement in the uptake for quite a few of the recipes that we have on our menus.
The result, she says, has been less wastage.
We've been working with the Nutrition Center to make sure that the meals are on par with what is required for the nutrition policy. So we've seen a lot less wastage. We are still working on the recipes. We have a team of persons led by our senior school meals officer, Mr. Kamabach, who are working right now to improve on the recipes and to develop some new ones. So hopefully for the January term, we can probably debut one or two more.
But she admits it has been a challenge sourcing some ingredients.
With the weather that we've been having and such, things like tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, that has been really hard for us. Sweet potatoes have been a big challenge for us, but we try to substitute where we can. We've been trying to put things like spinach on the menu. That has been hard to get, but we were able to get Chinese cabbage, so we did some substitution there. So where we can, we substitute. But yeah, there's been a different challenge with getting especially fresh vegetables and fresh fruit because of the importation challenges. And yeah, we have had some difficulty.
Ms. Brown was speaking to CBC News during a family day at the Maria Holder Nursery School in Government Hill, St. Michael. Parents were invited to join their children for lunch in a bid to get their feedback on the meals and to encourage their children to consume them. The initiative has been welcomed by Chairman of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, Christopher Holder.
It's a wonderful initiative. It's bringing the kids and the families together. They can see actually just how much the children here enjoy it. And I think for the children, they're proud to have their parents here and their carers, yeah? Love it. And the food. I'm sorry I didn't have time for lunch.
And the parents have given their stamp of approval.
We didn't have this when we was coming up, so it was very good to have lunch with my son today.
It's a good initiative because when we were growing up, I never had this, and this is a good experience for the parents to actually eat what their children eat at school to find out if it's good food or not, and I believe that. Are you going well, man?
I think it's very good, yes, because we used to wonder what they get for lunch and if they eat it, and this is good.
Coming in and see how the children operate, how they use, the forks and everything to feed themselves. It was a good thing for us as parents to see how it goes.
What about the meal?
It was good. It was very good. Tasted healthy.
The School Meals Department intends to repeat the initiative with at least 2 to 3 schools each term.
Tasty.
Oh, great.
Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Barbados continues to push for adaptation financing as world leaders meet in Dubai for a major climate change conference. Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley has stressed the importance of such financing during a COP28 presidency press conference.
We're in danger of allowing the narrative on loss and damage to crowd out the importance that is absolutely still necessary for adaptation. At the end of the day, loss and damage is just that. It's after the event. What we want is to avert damage and avert losses before the event.
Mottley has praised the United Arab Emirates for introducing the world's largest private investment fund for climate action, Altera. The privately managed fund aims to mobilize billions of US dollars globally by 2030 and be the largest of its kind geared towards climate.
At 30 billion, with a view to being able to scale that up to 250 billion. The truth is that private sector funding is going to be critical, but we all know that there are a number of things that need to be done to make that fair and level. Unless we lower and level the cost of debt to the global south, we're going to continue with countries not being able to benefit in real terms, which means deconstructing the foreign exchange risk and trying to put a proper price on it rather than overcharging it. Deconstructing the unconscious bias, and we all know it still exists. So let us not bury our heads in the sand about that. We need, therefore, to bring the bank regulators to the table who continue to perhaps put rules that they think are benign but have deleterious impact because of the lack of structures and institutions in the global south.
Government has announced plans to put the naming rights for Kensington Oval up for sale. This would allow an entity the exclusive right to name the facility for a set period of time. The move was announced by Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, Ryan Strawn.
We will be in a position, sir, to establish, for the first time, sir, to give naming rights, specifically as it relates to the facility, sir, and to utilize the revenues from said naming rights, sir, to be able to ensure that we are in a position to maintain the facility at the highest standard for a global game, sir, with global reach, to ensure that we can have the financing in place to be able to achieve not just support for the local programming in cricket, but as part of the wider consideration, if you like, sir, of the redevelopment of that area.
Mr. Strawn was speaking as the lower house debated a resolution to guarantee a $25 million loan to prepare the facility for the 2024 World Cup. The 7-year loan from the African Export-Import Bank will have a 7% interest rate and 2-year moratorium. Minister Strawn is confident the investment will be recovered given the plans for redeveloping the area around the facility.
Well, it's the naming right, sir, the development of global cricket legends infrastructure outside of Kensington, development of international school, rising of the Sagarafi Sobers International Schools Cricket Challenge, sir, encouraging sports team accommodation, business hotel and fine dining, world-class shopping to the nearby beach, sir, is part of how we see the redevelopment of that area in relation to being able to drive it.
Meanwhile, we're being told about a new vision for Spiketown, Holetown, Oistins, and a number of other developing areas under government's physical development plan. Senior Minister in the Prime Minister's office, Dr. William Duguid, outlined some of the proposed changes during debate on the physical development plan in the lower house. Dr. Duguid says plans for Holetown build on previous policies for the area and respond to the current physical conditions. He adds Spiketown will become a unique tourist destination and model for the blue and green economy.
The historic community core will be revitalized as a regional center, providing amenities, services and transportation options for the northern part of the island. Investment in infrastructure will improve the public realm and waterfront access for the enjoyment of residents and visitors alike, and will improve the community's resiliency to the effects of climate change. The goals and objectives are: 1, to preserve and celebrate Spiketown's remarkable cultural heritage; 2, to promote increased residential population and the livability of Spiketown; 3, to strengthen Queen Street as the main commercial and institutional spine of Spiketown.
A plan to eradicate mosquitoes in Barbados and the region. That story and more coming up. Interest is running high for remote employment in Barbados. Trevor Thorpe tells us scores of Barbadians have participated in the first in a series of workshops focusing on remote jobs.
A cross-section of applicants responded to the call from retail giant Startwise Incorporated. Director of Programs Michael Rosenberg says interest in remote employment is high.
There's something special going on this island. I think the Prime Minister has a vision here, and she brought us here on this partnership because she believes that remote work can be an opportunity for Bajans. And then on the other side of it, employers have a lot of reasons to want to work with remote workers in Barbados. The time zone lines up really nicely with the United States. The education system here is excellent. English is a first language, so there's a lot of advantages that this island has for remote employers.
The company official says more workshops are planned for next year to satisfy the marketplace demands.
So after this exercise, the people from this workshop today will hopefully walk away feeling like they have more skills and more exposure and awareness to global employment and their own desires and how to access it, and they will apply for our programs. We're going to have more workshops online this week and next week for our specialization tracks. So if you're interested in a career in data, sales, marketing, customer success, you can go to startwise.io/workshops to sign up for those. And then in January, we'll have 200 candidates signed up to launch our full program.
Director of the Barbados Employment and Career Counseling Service, Alison Elcott, says 200 people pre-registered for the workshop, the first of 3 planned between the Ministry of Labour and Startwise.
The objective is to hire Barbadians, that's the goal, to be engaged in remote working opportunities. It is part of the BEC's mandate of ensuring that there are placement and employment opportunities for Barbadians both locally and externally.
And Ms. Elcott says the Ministry of Labour is eager to partner with other companies to provide opportunities for Barbadians. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
New technology is on the way to help Barbados and the wider Caribbean eradicate mosquitoes, especially the Aedes aegypti mosquito. They devised the renewable energy-powered silent terminator, or the REST, is an initiative of the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies, where they won an award for innovative at the inaugural UWI competition. This is in keeping with the thrust of the university's AAA strategy Phase 2, the Revenue Revolution. Director of the Center for Biosecurity Studies, Dr. Kirk Douglas, provided insight into the technology and how it works on CBC TV8's Morning Report.
Mosquitoes follow you. Wherever you go, even if you try to hide underneath the sheet, you will hear them buzzing by your ear. And that's because when you breathe out, you exhale carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a chemical that's a lure or an attractant to the mosquito. So that's how they're able to locate you, and also using the heat of your body. And so what we do with the device is replicate basically a human body, or what the mosquito would see and recognize through its antennae and through the chemical signaling that, okay, that looks like a human being. But then we would use a fan, a vacuum to suck it in, and use renewable energy to power the killing device that kills the mosquito using physical energy.
Dr. Douglas suggests mosquitoes are encroaching on new areas as a result of climate change.
For instance, we have local transmission of dengue in France, in Italy, also in, I believe, Florida as well. They've had a number of cases. And so what you will find with climate change is that the delineation or the borders where mosquitoes would actually thrive is actually moving further north. So that's a problem for not only global south, but also the global north. The other thing that's also occurring is that these insecticides, because to kill them, you're using what they call an adulticide, which is just an insecticide that kills adult mosquitoes or adult sandflies. And the mosquitoes and sandflies are building resistance to these chemicals.
Government is working to have legislation dealing with the protection of rights of people with disabilities passed early next year. Word of this from Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, Kirk Humphrey. He says among the issues to be covered in the legislation will be the right to sexual and reproductive health services.
I heard when Janelle Odell spoke about when she was having a baby, how the doctor, because she's blind, how is she going to be able to raise this baby? How is she going to give away the baby? And recently the same conversation in relation to this man, and that they shouldn't be involved in certain things. We have to have a conversation around sexual health and reproductive rights for persons with disabilities in a way that is respectful and allows them to have their dignity. The other thing is we also have to have legislation to protect people, though, who then prey on persons with disabilities in order to satisfy their own depraved sexual wishes. That is why these kind of things are going to be important as a small component of the legislation.
Minister Humphrey was speaking during the unveiling of a monument which pays homage to 45 individuals who have contributed to enhancing the lives of people with disabilities. The event, which going forward will be held every 2 years, took place as Barbados joined the rest of the world in observing International Day of Persons with Disabilities. This year's theme is United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, the Most Honorable Carrie Ann Eiffel, says it's a call to action.
These words mean that we, as persons with disabilities, we as persons who work with, we as persons who support, we as children, as family members, as loved ones of persons with disabilities, must work together with the rest of this globe to rescue and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals for, by, and with, not on behalf of, not in spite of, not because of, not in order to, but for, by, and with persons with disabilities.
The Heart and Stroke Foundation is pushing for more school-age children to learn CPR. This from Medical Director at the Emergency Cardiac Care Department of the Foundation, Dr. Anne-Marie Cruikshank. Dr. Cruikshank, who's also head of the Accident and Emergency at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, says when CPR is taught in schools, there's a general strengthening of the community's safety. She made the point as she reviewed the success of the CPR in Schools pilot program at the headquarters of the Heart and Stroke Foundation.
The specific objectives of CPR in schools is to teach students the critical skills needed to respond to and manage a sudden cardiac arrest, choking, or first aid emergencies in the first few minutes until the emergency medical services, the EMS, can arrive. That's one of the objectives. The second objective is for them to learn how to treat things like bleeding, sprains, broken bones, shock, and other first aid emergencies. And if children can do it, adults for sure can do it. So we're extending CPR in schools to friends and family, which is another project we have soon coming up.
Dr. Cruikshank says they're hoping to add more schools to the CPR training program going forward.
We hope also to go to the secondary schools and hopefully the tertiary schools. So we want to embrace all aspects of learning in Barbados. We're excited about this new project, and it's hoped that through the children, we can contribute and fulfill the mandate of, I say, at least having one person in each household in Barbados, but Mrs. Yearwood always says to have at least 2 persons in each household, because in case the one who knows CPR collapses, there's another one who can work on the first person.
The Christmas spirit is coming alive in the city as the Royal Commonwealth Society gets ready to officially launch the 10th anniversary of its Christmas in the Square on Friday. This morning, cameraman Christopher Wood caught up with the members of the Youth Advance Corps and the Barbados Defence Force setting up the trees in National Heroes Square and on the water in preparation for the decorations and lights which will be affixed to them. The trees are a centerpiece which many city travelers use as backdrops to make their Christmas memories.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Sports time now with Damian Best.
Good evening to you, Wendy. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Well, defending champions A-Class Battery Baileys are out of the 2023 National Sports Council Hermographic Primary Schools cricket competition. They lost to Hillaby Turners Hall in the first semi-final today at Lears. CBC's Mark Seal reports on the early exchanges.
Baileys won the toss and sent Hillaby Turners Hall into bat. And it seemed to be a good decision, as early in the piece, left-arm seamer Samuel Smith was on fire. Here he bowled Javi Hines for a duck. The delivery wasn't pitched that short to encourage the pull shot, and the ultimate price was paid. Hillaby Turners Hall on this day would rely heavily on their skipper, Natari Levine. Here he is flicking Tyler Narang through square leg for one of his 4 fours. While Levine was the only batter to reach double figures, he still wasn't the high scorer in the scorebook. That went to extras. Here, Narain bowls one of the 27 wides Baileys were guilty of. In the meantime, Smith was doing his thing. This delivery may have been short enough for Jalene Springer to go on the back foot, but he missed, and Smith hit. LBW for a duck. Shane Watts looked as if he would have held on with his skipper, but he too fell to Smith, driving outside the line and getting an inside edge onto the stumps. Watts gone for 8. 2 balls later, Smith had another. The ball did keep a little low on Isaiah Marshall, but it wasn't anything that a front foot stroke couldn't keep out. He's gone for a duck, as Smith would end with the impressive figures of 4 for 13 from his 5 overs. Earlier, I told you about the 27 wides bowled, but in all, there were 67 extras, which accounted for more than half of the final total. And runs off of wides were a whopping 59. The wickets seemed to have dried up once Smith was out of the attack, but another seamer, Stefano Springer, helped the cause. The long-stop fielder here is blocking our view, but take my word, he bowled down to Jane Blendman for a duck, and he enjoyed his celebration, a la Sheldon Cottrell. 3 legal balls later, Springer had another, a pitched-up delivery to Harry Maynard, and he too is dismissed for naught, one of 6 batsmen dismissed without scoring. Springer ended with 2 for 13. Levine was still there, however, making a difference for Hillaby Turner's Hall, pulling this delivery to the mid-wicket boundary for 4 off of Nathaniel Harewood. But a run-out is never what the doctor orders, and that's what happened next. Jamali Prescott playing a nice square drive, but it went straight to the cover point fielder. Lesson to be learnt, never run for the shot. Prescott was sent back by Levine, but he was too far gone. Run out for naught. Baileys introduced Avian Codrington from the northern end, and it brought results. He had the carry row bowled for a duck. That was the 9th wicket to fall. Levine, realizing he was running out of partners, started to push on, swinging Kamani Innes to the square leg boundary for the only 6 of the innings. But it would be the same Innes who got rid of the mainstay, Levine, here trying to pull again, but got the leading edge to be caught and bowled for 32. His innings lasted 52 balls, and he had 4 fours and a 6. Innes ended with 2 for 8, as Hillaby Turner's Hall were dismissed for 109 off 22 overs. Mark Seal, CBC Sports.
Well, thanks, Mark. In reply, Baileys were bowled out for 92 as Hillaby won by 18 runs. Aidan Lynch top scored with 13, while Kamani Innes got 11. But they were outdone by Shane Watts, who took 4 for 16, and also by Jaheim Springer with 4 for 24. Hillaby Turner's Hall will now await the winner of Thursday's other semi-final between St Cyprian's and West Terrace to know who they'll face in that final. An intriguing battle is brewing between West Indies A and South Africa A as honours were shared on day 1 of the 3rd unofficial test match of that lineup there for them. Opting to bat first at Bloemfontein, the hosts were bowled out for 274. Kaya Zondo made 70, while captain Neil Brand, he contributed 62. Kevin Sinclair, he took 5 for 44, and Shamar Joseph 3 for 65. West Indies A in their first innings at stumps are 17 for 1, trailing by 257 runs. Also of note, folks, tomorrow will be the second one international between West Indies and England. It's a day-night fixture. It starts at 1:30 p.m. at the Viv Richards Stadium in Antigua.
The Business Report, brought to you by the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, a department of the Ministry of Youth and Community Empowerment, supporting young entrepreneurs from idea to enterprise.
In tonight's business, the Magic Oven has taken its place in the Barbados Cake and Pastry Marketplace. It was started 5 years ago by entrepreneur Sharice Gibbons.
Ms. Gibbons says it started as a hobby, but she's really following her dreams.
It's my dream to actually be a pastry chef, and baking is my passion. This is something I've always enjoyed doing from, well, say I would say from when I was in secondary school, I have seen people done cakes and whatever, and that's something that I know for sure that I wanted to do. So then I went on to BCC and I did culinary arts, and then after BCC I would have done a couple of courses on how to decorate certain cakes and what's not, and then I was doing it as a hobby, and in 2018 I decided to branch off and make it my own thing.
Deciding on a name was not easy, and it took a few sessions before she found one that stuck.
A few brainstorming sessions, and then ideas, and then tweaking it. Yeah.
The young entrepreneur says the Magic Oven's success is due to the assistance from the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme.
We would have done cost and appraisals courses. We would have done different, even how to speak to your customers, workshops and different kind of stuff. I would have also lately done an NAS workshop, which for people like me, things that we wouldn't normally know. A guy would have come and spoke to us on the things we as business owners should know in terms of dealing with NAS for our staff and ourselves and what's not. So yes, has really helped me, I would say a lot, as well as marketing. Well, yeah, in terms of me getting my product out there and showcasing, meeting customers for the expos and stuff like that.
Ms. Gibbons also discussed the range of products available at the Magic Oven.
We offer cake cups, we offer bread pudding, we offer cinnamon rolls, we offer cake slices, which is our wampum cakes. We also offer cupcakes, sweet bread, cookies, and we offer churros. We don't have any right now, but we do offer churros. And that's just some of the things that we offer.
And the Magic Oven can be reached via WhatsApp at 244-5877 or on their website at www.themagicovenbds.com. Trevor Thorpe for the Yes Business Report.
Barbados has signed a new bilateral investment treaty with the United Arab Emirates. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carrie Simmons inked the agreement on behalf of Barbados at COP28. Officials note the treaty will allow for the protection of investments between the two nations and will facilitate the development and expansion of commercial relations in several areas. And it's back to the Sports Centre and Damien Best.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Well, Christchurch Foundation are once again boys and girls champions of the National Sports Council Secondary Schools Under-19 volleyball competition. CCFS defeated Harrison College in both the girls and boys finals.
Big day in schools volleyball. Final showdown between Christchurch Foundation in the far court and Harrison College. Off the block and outside point to HC. CCFS now with the serve. Simple enough. Destiny Lane sets her outside hitter in Zidane Scanterbury, who cashes in. That's a kill. HC on a roll. But Foundation hit back after some poor serves. Stymied HC's efforts. Case in point. A real seesaw battle. Foundation making some timely plays to put daylight between themselves and their opponents. And eventually they would secure the first set. Excellent serve. An ace from Michaela Beckles. Then a big-time block at the net as the girls from Churchill take it 25-19. HC needed a good start to the all-important second set. Destiny Lane finds space deep in the backcourt. Backed by strong spectator support, HC started to ease their way back into contention, trailing now 3-6. Well, mate, that 4-6 good testing serve resulting in the ace. But when it looked like HC could possibly flip the script, CCFS found the remedy. Sierra Reyes side with back-to-back points. Up 14-11, Foundation never looked back and will go on to secure the victory in 2 straight over Harrison College. 25-19, 25-19. They are the queens of secondary schools volleyball. The High Flyers were next on court. The boys showdown again. HC closest to the screen up against CCFS. First salvo, point to HC. 2 plays later, jump serve, CCFS matching their opponent's intensity. Foundation looking to secure the double. and going about the task with some powerful attacks. HC cannot salvage. But the boys from Crumpton Street had a 6-point cushion at one stage, 12-6. How would Foundation respond? Well, not thinking too far ahead, taking it 1 point at a time. Long rally building off the fingertips of the libero, and it's downhill from there. More action. Caden Hoyt for Foundation delivered the goods at the net. The Midas touch exposes a big hole. Adjustments were made, and HC inched closer to taking the first set. Up 20-15. Dominic Durant fires off the block and out. But HC blew the lead, and Foundation crept back into the picture to not only lock the first set at 22 apiece, but close it out at 25-22. The fans in great voice celebrating. Let's go to the second, late in the piece. Jaden Smith, stand and deliver, earns the point. But Foundation snapped back with even more venom. Batson with a thunderbolt that rocks the gym. And it was no fluke. He said, put it on a platter and I'll carve them up. CCFS in the ascendancy. But wait a minute, two can play that game. HC swing it to the left side, and Durant with a rocket down the line. Nobody move, nobody gets hurt. Somehow, the defense knew Batson will want to respond, and they were ready. Access denied. College 21, Foundation 22. But somebody had to win on the day, and it would be Christchurch Foundation with the straight sets victory over Harrison College, 25-22, 25-22. The double is complete. Queens and now Kings of secondary schools volleyball.
That's our news. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.